America, meet Trump employee number 5. The Mar-a-Lago staffer dropping a bombshell in the classified documents case brought by special counsel Jack Smith against Donald Trump. In an interview with CNN, Mar-a-Lago employee Brian Butler painting a very specific picture of Trump's inner circle and how it operated more like a mafia family than anything else, with loyalty prized above everything. A world where fealty to the boss led to criminal exposure. Now, NBC News has not independently confirmed Butler's identity as Trump employee number 5, and he declined NBC's request for comment. In his interview last night, Butler says he helped Trump's co-defendants, Walt Nauta and Carlos de Oliveira, move those boxes containing some of our nation's most sensitive national security secrets. Watch.
He followed me. He pulled out and got behind me. We got to the airport. I ended up loading all the luggage I had, and he had a bunch of boxes.
You noticed that he had boxes?
Oh, yeah. They were the boxes that were in the indictment, the white banker's boxes. That's what I remember loading.
And did you have any idea at the time that there was potentially U.S. national security secrets in those boxes?
No clue. No, I had no clue.
No clue. And here's how Carlos de Oliveira talked about moving classified documents for Trump.
There was one time towards one of the last times I was with him, and we're talking about, boxes and, well, Biden did the same thing. You can't get, it always got brought up about Biden and other people that did the same thing. And then there was one time he said, we're all dirty. We all move boxes.
We're all dirty, but we're not. Of course, President Joe Biden was not charged with obstructing the government's attempt at retrieving classified documents, unlike Donald Trump and his employees, who allegedly tried to delete all the surveillance footage that showed the boxes being moved. Here's Butler describing a conversation he had with de Oliveira about the widespread panic around that footage.
I remember him saying, hey, by the way, Walt's coming tomorrow. Oh, cool. That's great. I was like, okay. It wasn't until the following day when we're out walking, he's like, hey, by the way, it's a secret. Don't tell anybody Walt's coming. And, well, why? Well, he needs me to find something out before he gets here. Oh, what's that? He needs me to, how long the camera footage is saved at Mar-a-Lago. And I'm like, well, that's odd. Why do you need the camera footage? Why do you need to know how long it's saved? And his response was, I think they're looking for somebody that was there.
As the Justice Department closed in, Trump allies pressured that man, Butler, offering him an attorney amid a full-blown hysteria now about who was talking to prosecutors and what they were saying. Butler now says he would testify in a trial against Donald Trump, and that, contrary to the ex-president and his wild conspiracies about the weaponization of the government and the deep state, this case is no witch hunt.
Do you view Trump as a national security risk?
I personally would just say I just don't believe that he should be a presidential candidate at this time. I think it's time to move on.
Does it concern you that, he very
I think
well
it should concern, yeah, absolutely. I think we can do better. And, for him to get up there all the time and say the things he says about, about this being a witch hunt and everything, it's all, he just can't take responsibility for anything.
An extraordinary first-hand look through the eyes of a first-hand witness in this classified documents case who lays out from the inside the cover-up from Team Trump. It's where we start today with some of our favorite reporters and friends. Former senator and co-host of MSNBC's How to Win 2024 podcast, Claire McCaskill's back with us. National investigative reporter for The Washington Post, our friend Carol Leonnig is here. With me at the table where he belongs, former top official at the Department of Justice, MSNBC legal analyst Andrew Weissmann is here. Let me start with you, Carol Leonnig. This was jaw-dropping stuff for me, and I watched Caitlin Collins does a masterful job at sort of bringing the witness through all the parts of the story. Obviously, prosecutors piece together the story with a lot of different witness testimony, and she does a good job for the viewer at plugging it all in. But he's there for the crime of the hoarding. He's there for the crime of the moving of the boxes. He's there for the boxes summer trip to Bedminster, which was some of the most riveting stuff. You know, he drove a Sprinter van with the bags. The boxes were moved by someone else who's actually now Trump's co-defendant. And he's there for the Pratt stuff, which is perhaps the most stomach-sinking gut punch for anyone coming at this story, as I know you do, from the national security perspective. Tell me what it was like to sort of hear him in his own words describing the anatomy of the crime.
I couldn't agree more with you, Nicole. Like, every time we think, and I know that Claire and Andrew and I and you all think we know this down to the studs. Every time I think I've got this Mar-a-Lago story totally understood, I see a new character in the Netflix special. And that's what Brian became when Caitlin began to interview him. It was like, of course, he was unwitting, but to me, the most dramatic moment is actually, and this is where I started thinking about the screenplay, is June 3rd. Remember, at this point, in June 3rd, 2022, Donald Trump has tried to get his lawyers to lie, asked his lawyers if he maybe could lie about whether or not there are records still at Mar-a-Lago. The FBI and the head of the counter-espionage section is coming down from the Department of Justice to get whatever documents are still on the premises that are classified. And Evan Corcoran, President Trump's attorney, is supposed to hand them over in a red-weld envelope, sealed with tape. At that moment, Mr. Butler, earlier in the morning, has been instructed, along with Walt Nauta, to take a bunch of boxes into a van that are going to go to the airport and onto the private plane of the former president, where he and Melania and all their luggage is going to be taken for the summer season to Bedminster. Those boxes are leaving the premises as Donald Trump is jumping into a little June 3rd meeting with the Department of Justice and Mr. Career Public Servant Jay Bratt, just down here to get the rest of the classified records, sir. Donald Trump says, I'm an open book, look at whatever you need to. I just want to give you this stuff back. But meanwhile, there are documents in a van heading with Brian. He doesn't realize that there's classified national security information inside, but they're being spirited away from the former president's Palm Beach club at that exact moment. I see the movie.
Yeah, I mean, you called Trump gaudy-like yesterday, and if you take classified state secrets out of the boxes and you put body parts in it, it's no less dramatic, right? I mean, this was someone who was in charge of driving the boxes with the contraband in them. It is haunting to me how he says, yeah, there was this white-haired tall guy I would later learn was the attorney who ends up turning over his notes to Jack Smith's prosecutors. I mean, this was so many touch points to the criminal conduct, both the mishandling and the very, very deliberate intent to obstruct.
Yeah, well, this is a firsthand witness to, as you said, both the retention part of the case, retaining classified documents, also obstructing the investigation, and even the dissemination, because he overhears the talking about this to somebody who clearly should know about it. I have to
Pratt,
say
the Australian
exactly. Yeah. My reaction there to all of this is it's a huge indictment of our judicial system. We're all listening to this. It's riveting. That's what a trial is supposed to be. Donald Trump should have his day in court to be able to cross-examine all of this. But the public is entitled to not just hear from Mr. Butler, but everyone. The Supreme Court of the United States that is putting a stay needlessly on the D.C. case. And Judge Cannon, don't get me started. It's clearly is not going to have this trial. And that is why you have him speaking. In some ways, they say, thank God he's speaking. Normally, a prosecutor would be like, I do not want my witnesses to be doing this. You can't prevent them, but it's not a good thing. In this case, my reaction is this is the only way the public's going to learn it. And that's really not right. The public has a right to have a speedy trial, to hear the evidence. And so it's great that this interview happened. He seems very credible, but they're entitled to the whole story. to like Butler and everyone else. And it really tells you about what the judicial system is doing and closing down accountability. And so this is the forum where we can have some account of what happened, but it's not really enough. It's not what is really the way that we decide things in the United States. Is when there's a dispute is you have trials, and facts and law should matter. So that's sort of my main reaction to this is about, Judge Cannon has a lot to answer for.